Hi everyone. For today's video, we are going to be going over 5th grade lesson 34 of the Elevate curriculum. Just like any day, we are going to spend about 5 minutes, including review, on the sprint. For today's lesson, we are going to learn to show data using line plots. A line plot uses a number line to show a set of data values. So this is the number line, which shows the set of data values. Each X in the line plot represents one leaf. So if each X in the line plot represents one leaf, then how can you find how many leaves in all were measured? I am going to give you 1 minute with your table buddy when I say go to turn and talk. The question is, if each X in the line plot represents one leaf, then how can you find how many leaves in all were measured? Okay, so the big idea here that students should be able to have stamped by you is that each one of these X's represents one value. So for this specific question on the lengths of leaves, there were a total of 7 leaves that were measured. And that is represented by the number of X's that are in that number line. That same idea comes up here. You can release students to another turn and talk by asking them, okay, now we are talking about the lengths of ribbons. What relationships do you see, or what relationship do you see between the fractions listed and the line plot below? Again, students should be able to say, well, I see 10 X's in the number line. That correlates with the number of lengths of ribbons listed above, or the 10 fractions listed above. Okay? Now, here is where your model comes in. This model is going to be important for the day because for this lesson, students are going to be asked to create their own line plots. They're going to be asked to add different values of the number plots or subtract different values of the number plots. So you are going to walk them through how to understand different pieces of these line plots, okay? So this question says, find the difference, which is subtraction, between the weights of the lightest and heaviest pencils, right? And so this line plot is about the weights of pencils in ounces. These 4 questions or these 4 points are going to talk you through how to get students to understand the different pieces of that line plot. So the first question says, find the weight for the first X on the line plot. Students will be able to identify 2/12. But you should push them further, because why are we finding the weight for the first X on the line plot? Our question asked us to find the difference between the weights of the lightest and the heaviest pencil. So what is the significance of me identifying this first X? You can release students to a turn and talk and ask them, why do they want us to find the weight of the first and last X? How does that help us solve the overall question? Right? Students should be having some sort of idea to say, okay, well, if we're talking about weight, and 2/12 has an X on it, we know that 2/12 is a fraction that is on the smaller side of our scale. So 2/12 might be our lightest pencil, right? And then 6/12 might be our heaviest pencil. Oh, okay. That is why they are asking us to identify the first X and the last X. From there, students should be able to know, again, that difference means subtraction. So 6/12 minus 2/12 is going to give me 4/12. The difference is 4 ounces. Okay, so from there, you talk through all of your questions. Then you can release students for about 15 minutes to work through their independent practice. If you want, they can also work in groups to solve these questions. Now, this last question is going to be a little bit challenging for students because it is requiring them to find the total distance walked by those classmates. Again, sorry, this question is about distances walked to school by different students. And so if they want them to find the total, they are going to have to add up the value for each of these x's. So 3 twelfths plus 4 twelfths plus another 4 twelfths plus another 4 twelfths to give them the total. So if you want to release them to independent practice, I would give them questions 1 through 7. And then if there is still time at the end, you all can come back to work on this harder question, or you might give your highest students the opportunity to work on that question independently as well.